more importantly, as kind of a pink hat Bruins fan at best, I would like if you could kind of take us through, just quickly kind of take us through position by position, and just give us a little breakdown of what we have.
All right. Strength of the Boston Bruins is in their 3 trophy winners. That is the foundation of the Boston Bruins. Claude Julien, NHL Coach of the Year. He's not going to get any worse at his job. But the whole question with every coach is like that half gallon of milk. If you haven't, you're wondering how it's gonna last.
Yep.
All right. So is there a date on him? Most coaches, there's a 3-year window, and then things fall apart. This is Julian's 3rd year with the Bruins coming up.
Yep.
Okay, so now number 2, Tim Thomas won the Vezina.
Yep.
Tim Thomas got a fat contract, 4 years, $5 million per. He's now being paid like a frontline goalie in the NHL. He's no longer underdog Timmy, who deserves good luck.
Right.
He is now in a position where he's paid to do it, and it's expected of him. And this will be the first time he's had to be in that position with that kind of pressure.
Yep.
Although, for most of these athletes who spend their whole lives trying to prove something, for them, the other pressure was bigger. So I think that he'll be fine. He may not put up the numbers he did at the beginning, or he may not put up, be in the Vezina Trophy race, but he'll be a good goalie who will give the Bruins a chance to win, and that's the only thing that you really want to know.
If I could just, is there any chance of... Is there any groundswell if he does not play great that Tuukka Rask would have a chance to take that job from him? I mean, is that?
Oh, sure.
I mean, that can happen.
Because Tuukka Rask's cap hit is actually up over $3 million, even though Tim Thomas is now $5 million. So Rask is not like a $500,000 a year backup who is like going to bounce back and forth from Providence.
If I could put it into terms that I understand, because I'm a football guy.
Yeah.
Rask is kind of like saying, okay, we have Brady, but we're also going to keep Castle.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, is he that good? Is he a?
Oh yeah. Rask has been widely considered the best goalie not in the NHL until now, where he will be in the NHL.
Okay, so goalie obviously could you say that they have the strongest 1-2 punch in the league?
I think that superlatives are difficult. Tim Thomas has had 1 year as the Vezina Trophy winner.
Yep.
Tuukka Rask has played a few NHL games, and he's played them very well, but his resume is so short at the top level that superlatives are cocky at best.
But they have the potential to have the lowest goals against in the league.
It's not out of the question that it could happen. I don't think it's going to happen because I think that instead of Aaron Ward back there blocking a ton of shots, you now have a much more aggressive two-way defenseman in Derek Morris, who gives the Bruins greater potential down in the long run. And but in between now and then, there's going to be more bumps and bruises.
And that's the third Vezina winner. I mean, the third award winner is the big guy.
The big guy, Zdeno Chara. He won the Norris Trophy.
Can I do a quick Zdeno Chara impersonation?
I would love to see it.
Thank you.
I got a good one. A media member who I will not name went out for a smoke, came back in. I wasn't there for this, but I was told this story. And then they scrummed around Zdeno Chara, and Chara said, "Who is smoking?" And then the person fessed up who it was, and he said, "Now I feel like I am smoking."
That's good.
Yeah, Big Z.
Good guy.
Yeah, he's something.
Who's his big support? Who's on the first line with him in defense?
Well, that's undetermined, but I expect that Dennis Weidman is going to be his partner.
Okay.
Now people aren't talking; they're talking like Morris is going to be the partner. I don't expect that. I expect Weidman to be his partner because Weidman is an offensive kind of talent. Morris is more of a physical player.
Yep.
Who I think might be a better fit on the next group, the second group. But they're all top. They're all top 4 guys.
So are they deep? I mean, do they go 5, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, I think so because I think this year Matt Hunwick's going to be a regular and he's the fastest skater on the team.
Okay.
And he showed last year that he could play very well under NHL forechecking pressure, better than I thought. So I'm pretty excited about that for them because the transition game is what was lacking. Morris will improve it. Hunwick as a regular will improve it. Ferentz coming back from a year riddled with injuries. If he stays healthy, will improve it some more. So they could. I mean, he was Calgary's ice time leader when they went to the 04 finals.
Okay.
So this is no longer a defense that's sort of a sore thumb. But as long as Julian's system helps Derek Morris, who's 31 years old now and probably a little less uppity, he probably will flourish playing for Julian because of the heavy back pressure from the forwards allows the defense to play more positional hockey and not be darting at people trying to knock him in the next month and all that stuff. So I think that helps Morris, and maybe if the Bruins get Morris's best hockey in these next season, then I think that they become a better team regardless of who's playing forward.
So they're solid on the back line.
Yeah, I'd say so. I like the defense. I like the goaltending, and I love most of all a full season with Bergeron back at full strength. He's had a summer off for the first time since his injury, and he was playing his best hockey of the year at the end of last season. So that kind of excites me. Now the forwards on the peripherals, that's a little bit tricky because you got young players like Wheeler and Lucic, and you're saying how much can they do? Is Ryder going to play as well as he did last year? Sturm's coming back from ACL and missed almost the whole season. So
and Bergeron is he? Are there not questions whether Bergeron's 100% back or is he?
He's 100% back. So
take that, Bergie knockers.
No, I think that the second concussion on December 20th, he ran into Dennis Seidenberg, Carolina, when Seidenberg was actually carrying the puck. A play that taking out the red line is actually the fault of that rule change. And he wound up getting a shoulder to the head while trying to attack the puck carrier. And he got a concussion, but he came back and then played his best hockey of the year. So I think the fears about Bergeron should be wiped out. He's starting from scratch here, and he played some great hockey for them late last season.
And they're counting on him pretty heavily.
I think so because David Krejci had hip surgery, and Krejci emerged as a second line producer, as a center ice playmaking, center. But and Bergeron sort of slipped into that third role. But you know what? Right now, as far as I'm concerned, Bergeron's still their best two-way forward.
Okay.
And Mark Savard could score lights out, and that won't change my mind. They're very strong down the middle of the rink. They're strong on defense. They're very strong in goal. That's where you need to be. That's kind of a vintage Harry Sinden kind of team. They got some toughness on the wings with Sean Thornton still, and the wingers aren't bad. Their wingers are good. They're not great. They're good. And Lucic is a lightning rod for fan interest and charisma, and he bangs bodies and he can score goals, and he's a vintage Bruin. So I like the team. I think they got questions just like everybody else has questions, but this is a good hockey team.
What is give us just quickly what's a worst case scenario for the Bruins in terms of what would the scenario be where they don't make the playoffs and they're a disappointment, and what's kind of does the best case scenario to you include could they win the Stanley Cup?
Last year I thought no. This year I think it's possible.
Okay, and so you think they could do it, but what would sideline this team? I mean, what's their kind of their kryptonite that if it doesn't go the way they want it to, it could kind of send them into a bad direction?
If Chara got an injury,
okay,
I think that the defense, the rest of the way down with Morris being the new guy, the rest of without Aaron Ward there, the incumbents, Andrew Ferentz is very injury prone himself. So your veteran presence on the blue line, you get a very young blue line if Chara goes down with an injury, and if Thomas isn't in peak form when they come out of the gate, and for the first time ever, they're opening with 5 straight home games,
which
fun.
They
never do.
Right. Usually they're in.
I think the Olympic schedule. Outposts. I think the Olympic schedule allowed for the October 1st start. This season usually starts a little later.
Yep.
The Olympic pause, so I think that allowed them to get some games in before the circus comes in. Whereas usually the circus comes in, and then the Bruins start playing home games, or they play 1 or 2 in the circus.
Which is horrible for us in the media, I have to say.
What is?
Going after the circus.
Yeah.
It takes about 2 weeks.
Elephant stuff. I got you. Yeah.